Hey, what's up YouTube? Chris Gardiner here, doing a little Final Cut Pro tutorial for you. There are some new features in Final Cut Pro 10.6. One, where we have the trackers now included. Trackers are something I've been hoping for in Final Cut Pro for a very long time, and when I saw that we had it now, I was pretty excited and wanted to see if, what kind of applications I can put it towards. So I thought I'd share this one where, let's just have a look at it. Watch that sky, and you see it's moving. Well, the sky shouldn't look weird to you right now, but what we have here is a sky replacement, and it is all facilitated easily with the trackers. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward, and as you can see, there's 3 layers we've got stacked. They kind of each play a part. So we'll just start this one from scratch, but let's show you what the original footage looked like. So let's get rid of that. There's our original sky, kind of cloudy day, but this was a pretty pricey home on the water, and there was just no sunshine for us happening in these weeks this summertime. So had I had the tracking feature at that time, I would have been a hero for a lot of my clients. Now I'm going to show you how you can be a hero for them too. I'm just going to make a new one inside the primary storyline. Actually, let's just scrap these entirely. And let's set this all to 0. Get rid of tracking. We have what is, about 4 seconds here. This is straight out of the camera, no correcting. There's a little bit of, my motion could be a little bit smooth out there. But anyways, we're going to just blow right by that and get into it. First thing we can do is start from playhead. Start the playhead from the beginning. We're going to add a new tracker. Okay. And when you are choosing one to align with the sky, you want to choose one that is as far away as possible, because the sky is, ultimately the furthest thing that is typically included in a photo. Actually, is there anything further ever? Not really, besides the moon, right? So we have that on the horizon, because we want our sky to move with the horizon. Ultimately, it should be moving even less than things on the horizon are, but it should be close enough. So I'm doing something like this, shaping my tracker to fit high value points. These are kind of the most contrasted and detailed areas on the horizon, so I'm choosing that to align with. You want to try and choose good points to track, because that will just make your job easier. If you choose bad points, you are going to have, this box change shape frequently and whatnot. Now, there are a few options here. Oh, I didn't get it right. All right. So we have object track. Now, a useful feature I found is to name these. So I'm going to call this my skyline. And let's just go ahead and do that like that. Now, from 0, let's go analyze. And that doesn't look good. That's not good. This box was scaling up. Meanwhile, this is not scaling nearly as fast. So let's try a different method. I happen to try these, point cloud. Seems like a good choice. Technically the points within this area should not be changing. And if a point cloud is tracking those, I don't know how these are working. If they have a point cloud tracking inside here, then that should work out well for us. Let's go analyze again. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, point clouds. So we want this to track a point cloud. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, that one much better. The size stayed stable, and it tracked it all the way till it was out of frame. Now, one thing you can do in something like Blender is your points can leave frame and you can still have a good track. This one, I haven't quite figured that out yet, because when that point leaves, we'd want to transfer our tracker to a new point, if needed, and that is maybe a bit more of a convoluted process. So we're just going to stick with something simple today. Now we have our track, that's good. We've called it skyline, that's good. We are going to pick out a sky. Now, as you can see, these are just some free skies I've gotten from Pexels. These are just photos, and in most cases they should work totally fine with your video. I have another YouTube tutorial about how to change your sky in photos. There's some principles in there that may actually be helpful to you for video as well. I'll just touch on it briefly here. So number one thing you might want to consider trying to match between your source footage and your new sky is focal lengths. So, if this was shot at what would be, let's call it a 22 millimeter equivalent on a 35 millimeter lens, you might want to find something that is also shot at 22 millimeters. With the exception of, let's say, right now we have a tilting motion up and down, but if we had a panning motion side to side, or let's say a trucking motion maybe side to side, you may find yourself needing a photo or a source sky that is wider than your original, because at the beginning of this clip we are starting with, let's say, this more centered frame. We want to have the sky that would extend. We'd want to have a sky to cover the horizon in this portion, and then as we move to maybe more center frame here, we also need that same continuous sky to cover the horizon in this portion. So, it's not going to be as easy as this one for every piece of footage you have. I tried to choose an easy one. So let's get one of these. This is a sky. Now, one thing I like to do, and this is something I touched on in that other video I mentioned, we're just going to hide this briefly. We're going to start off by making it bigger. Okay, so filling the width plus a little bit, and be considerate of, be mindful of where your horizon line is, because ultimately, a horizon line in this photo and a horizon line in this photo or frame should exist in the same place. So let's make this one a little hidden, and let's bring this one up. Okay, and I also want to make sure that I'm not letting the trees conflict with what's here already, so I'm going to go like that. Okay, and also we are going to go crop. I want to scrap this. I don't want to have it interfering with anything. So let's make this full again. Let's take our Luma here. Let's do it here. I'm going to get rid of this one. Get rid of the first one, working with a fresh one. Now, in the case of, let's say real estate photo and video, your sky is probably white. Let's inverse that. And how you manipulate your keyer is going to, vary based on the footage. So I'm not going to spend a lot on this. I'm just going to do a pretty rough version of that. So in an effort to help sell the effect, I am compressing the height of the sky just so that we get some of this deeper blue, because it is typically, lighter near the horizon, right? But I'm going to try and pull in some more of that deeper blue just so that we can get a more pronounced sky, even if it's not entirely accurate. You can mess around with some of these, but we have a pretty decent key right here. We're ignoring these things. These are holes that have been cut into footage down here, which is obviously not correct, but we are about to fix that in a minute. So right now the key is good. Now we can go and track. See, because the sky is totally static, not moving, we need to apply the tracker to it. So to get there, we are going to click on our image. I like to start on 0 because I just have noticed anomalies when I don't. Clicking on transform, we're going to drop this down, tracker source. So this is basically saying I want to link it to something that exists already. It's inside DJI 0751 here, and I named the tracker skyline. So you should see whatever you did there. Now, I can't remember if I have to hit link here. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, it looks to be moving, but it's not perfect, is it? We notice some, see, we're losing some edges of the frame here. And that might just mean we need a little refinement of our tracker. Before we do that, I'm just going to show you how to patch these holes. So we're going to take this, holding Alt, making a new one below our sky. Okay, and now we're going to turn off our keyer. And boom, original footage restored below. And last thing we can do is let's just try and touch up this tracker. Maybe I'm taking too much of, trees that might be considered the foreground, and I should try to work with more of only the very top line. So let's try this analyze again, see what happens. Okay. So that's kind of cool. You can actually readjust your tracker while you have things attached to it. I didn't know if we could do that or not, but let's see this one. Looks. So maybe we'll try a combined machine learning and point cloud, and let's just see what we come back with. Nope. Definitely no. Okay, so let's go back with that. See, and look what that's doing to our sky. So let's return to our point cloud option. Maybe let's try a new spot. And let's just see what happens when we do this. Okay, I think I'm going to like that. Yeah, that's sharp. Okay. So that appeared to work really well for us. We are just working with probably a lot more points for it to track, and so it's getting less confused. There's less options for it to jump around because we are taking so much of this width that I guess it's just helping us out. And one thing I've learned from things like photogrammetry and stuff is that when you're dealing with point clouds particularly, just the more data you can give it, the better. And it's just typically a matter of whether or not your computer can handle it. And this seems to be doing just fine at that. Now we have this. Let's go ahead and make this a compound clip so it can be edited into our video as anything else might be. And we'll just call this replaced. And now we could just apply our, regular color corrections we might do to it, whatever those might be. So, not too bad. I like it. I'm pretty impressed that this is finally with Final Cut Pro. I'm glad they did something. I was starting to consider the DaVinci Resolve route, which I still might because I've been working more and more on Linux computers. But I think Final Cut has managed to get me to hold on with them at least a little longer. So that's it for this one. Let me know what you thought about it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some more videos on the way.